My name is Marcus. I study criminology at a university. Yes, I'm one of those people who watches detective shows and thinks, I would have caught him. But that night, no show's plot that night was so far removed from the absurd. It's real, and it gives me goosebumps. I come from a low-income family, and I live in boarding houses because the rent is so high. The house you're born into is your destiny. That's not the case with everyone. Our dorm is old. Actually, it is. The hallways are narrow, the walls are cracked, and sometimes there's no hot water in the shower. But at least it's good to be around friends, at least until that night. It was around 2 a.m. It was exam week, and everyone was either at capacity or buried in their rooms. I was in classic Marcus mode, coffee, chips, and a miracle last-minute transportation pass plan. Just then, I heard a strange noise in the hallway. It sounded like someone was shouting, but the sound was muffled. Then something fell to the floor, like metal. Then a door slammed. At first I thought, someone's fighting with their boyfriend again. But then, a scream came. A real scream. Not that kind, not a drama queen scream. The sound of someone trying to survive. I slammed my door. The hallway was empty. But the 306 exchange was open. Light was streaming in. And on the floor, a knife. My heart was pounding. I approached. I stood in the doorway. Someone was inside. Their back was to me. They held another knife. They started to turn slowly. I saw their face. It was blank, expressionless. Their eyes were bloodshot. It was as if there was no one inside, just a body. I'd never seen them before. "Hey, is that wrong?" I said. My voice cracked. They didn't say anything. They just looked at me. Then they put the knife down, and they left the room. They walked past me, without saying a word, as if I weren't there. They alerted the police. Security arrived. The room was empty. There was no one inside, but there was blood on the floor. A little, but clearly. The funny thing is, the 306 break room wasn't visible on the dormitory plan. I went to the screen and they said, 306? That room is shown years ago. It's used as a storage unit. But I saw someone there that night. With a knife. With blood. Silence. A police investigation was launched, but nothing was found. No one was seen in the security camera footage or in the hallway. Only me was there. And the knife. As the investigation progressed, the incident came to light. Similar incidents had occurred in other blocks. Someone unregistered in the dormitory would occasionally enter the dormitory, wield a knife, and shout, damaging old furniture in places where no one else was staying. They couldn't determine the person's circumstances. That's what the police told us. But that person, as if someone living in the dormitory, knew the empty rooms in the blocks. Perhaps he was one of us, and we continued to live with him.
I'm Natalie. I'm a psychology major. So, technically, I'm supposed to be able to analyze human behavior. But this experience, it doesn't fit any book, any theory. I still get goosebumps just thinking about it. It happened last fall. The campus parking lot can be a bit spooky at night. The lights are dim, the trees are shadowy, and for some reason there's always a breeze. But because I like to study at night, I often leave the library late. That night was the same. It was around 1:30 a.m. I left the library, put on my headphones, threw my bag over my shoulder, and started walking toward the parking lot. My car was at the far end. It's classic Natalie. I found an empty space, I'll park now. As I walked, I noticed something. Someone was standing in the trees to my left. He wasn't moving. He just stood there. He was dressed in black. I couldn't see his face, but I could tell he was looking at me. At first I thought, security. Then, maybe another student. But something stirred inside me. You know, that instinct, the one that says, get out of here now. That's it. Got in the car. I locked the door. I started the engine. But my eyes were still on that person. He was still there. He was still looking at me. The next day I told my friends. Maybe someone recognizes you, they said. Maybe he's trying to flirt. Yes, so romantic. Flirting among the trees at 1:30 a.m. Great idea. But it didn't end there. For a week, I saw that person every night at the same time in the same place. Always in the same position. Always silent. Always in the shadows. One night, I mustered up the courage. I went to security. I said, there's a man in the parking lot. He stays there every night. They reviewed the footage. They pulled up the security footage. And there was nothing. I mean, really, nothing. Everything was visible as I walked, as I got into the car. But that man, he wasn't there. He had never been on the footage. Maybe you're hallucinating, they said. You're going through a stressful time. As a psychology student, I told myself, Natalie, maybe you really are hallucinating. But then that night came. I left late again. As I walked to the car, this time the man was closer. Not among the trees, but at the edge of the parking lot. And this time he moved. He started walking slowly toward me. He sped up. I clutched the keys in my hand. Got in the car. I locked the door. But this time before I got in, I looked in the back seat. And there he was. No, not physically. But I heard a breathing sound. From the back seat. Deep, muffled, like someone was forcing their lungs to work. Froze. Tears welled up in my eyes. My heart felt like it was about to burst from my chest. Then the sound stopped. I started the car. I drove off campus. That night I drove home. And I never stayed on campus at that hour again. Security still says, there's no one in sight. My friends still say, you're just imagining things. But I know, that man was there. And one day, maybe not before I get in the car, but after I get in the car, he'll actually be in the back seat. So, every night before I get in the car, I check the back seat. And I pray. It's empty.
I'm Jalen. I'm studying architecture. Normally, my life revolves around drawings, coffee, and how am I going to get this project done by morning, crises. But that night, I didn't design anything that night. I just witnessed it. And I still wish I hadn't seen it. It happened last winter. There's a cafe behind the campus gym. It's quiet, dimly lit, and very few people frequent. I love it there. It's the perfect escape from the crowds. That night, it was around 11 o'clock. The project deadline was approaching, and my mind was busy. I decided to walk behind the gym back to my dorm for some fresh air. It was cold, but my head was colder. Just as I reached the back of the gym, I heard a voice. Let me go. Then a slap. Then a struggle. I turned the corner. Two people were fighting. One was down. The other was on top of him. Fists were flying. But the strange thing was, they weren't yelling at all. A silent fight. As if one wanted to silence the other. I froze. I didn't know what to do. I pulled out my phone, but I couldn't call. I just watched. Then, the man upstairs looked at me. Our eyes met. Time stood still at that moment. His eyes were familiar. But it was so dark I couldn't be sure. The man stood up. He ran away. The other was still on the ground. He wasn't moving. I mustered up my courage and approached. But just then, someone arrived. A security guard. He shone a light. The boy on the ground was unconscious but alive. The police were called. The ambulance arrived. I gave a statement. I saw the attacker, but I don't recognize him, I said. I lied. Because I knew him. Those eyes, that look, were my old roommate, Kyle. Kyle had transferred dorms last semester and disappeared. He was quiet, withdrawn. But one day, he told me, sometimes I feel like someone's watching me. He'd always acted strangely since then. Then suddenly, he was gone. The victim didn't know who he was either. Oddly enough, he didn't tell the police anything after the incident either. The police launched an investigation, but the attacker wasn't found. There was nothing on the security camera footage. That area was a blind spot. Of course. Me? I stay silent. Because Kyle might still be on campus. And that night, he saw me. We made eye contact. He knows it too. I know it too. Sometimes, when I walk at night, passing behind the gym, I feel that look again. And every time, I choose a different path. Because some things can't be relived. You just try to forget them.